Texas is expected to have more than 300 refugees come to the state, but for those on the ground trying to get out of Afghanistan, what are they up against? This morning, Spojmie Nasiri, principal attorney and owner at law office of Spojmie Nasiri in California, joins us this morning to talk a little bit more about it. Good morning, Spojmie. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Spojmie, we've seen these just harrowing images, very heartbreaking, from Afghanistan. Tell us a little bit about what refugees are facing as they are coming into the state here in Texas.
So first of all, I want to clarify that it's not just refugees coming in. I have dozens of clients who are U.S. citizens. I have dozens of clients who are lawful permanent residents. And they are mixed into the mayhem and chaos that we're seeing right now on the grounds in Kabul, with everyone else desperately seeking to get out.
And so what are they facing when they are getting back home?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had any of my clients return back home. There have been reports from other colleagues of mine that have had their family members. They are not home yet. What we're hearing is that they're being taken to Qatar, and if they're U.S. citizens and green card holders, being held in hotels for at least a day or two to be processed. And for those who are in other categories, such as those who had completed all their paperwork but hadn't had their interviews, so for example, spouses, parents of lawful permanent residents, green card holders, because of the embassy being shut down, they are being taken to Qatar to be processed, and that process is going to be rigorous. They're not going to be admitted into the mainland until they're cleared with the process they would have done had they been at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul.
Right. During such a stressful time, as I can imagine that not only you are facing, but some of your clients, here in the States, undoubtedly, there are people who have loved ones abroad. What can you offer them in terms of peace of mind as this process continues? Sounds like it's going to be long and complex.
Absolutely, and it's getting more complex and longer by the minute. As a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, we are vigorously working with our congressional elected officials to try to figure out how to increase the amount of the planes that are going out there on the grounds to evacuate people as much as we can. Now, when you used the word refugee earlier, there hasn't been any blanket program set in place by the U.S. government to allow refugees to come in. What we're talking about is trying to evacuate U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, those who serve translators, those who are in danger of harm, such as women, minorities, or other groups, that journalists or those who work for the government and translators. So those are the large influx of people we're trying to evacuate. What I can tell my clients is that we are in this for the long haul, especially my green card holders and my U.S. citizens, that we just have to keep trying. Please be safe. Please keep your kids together. I have a family of lawful permanent residents right now with 8 children and a widow who's desperately trying. I got a message this morning saying they're throwing stinky bombs, referencing pepper spray, and then also grenades throwing, and a couple of the children's ears are actually bleeding from the loud sound. So the situation on the ground is catastrophic, and in the mayhem are caught lawful permanent residents and citizens. So the priority is to get those people out as quickly as we can. As you are aware, the deadline for the U.S. mission is till August 31st.
Right. What can people here in the United States, I've heard and seen a lot of ask, how can we help? How can we help? What is the best way? What are some resources that citizens here can be pointed towards to really help support?
So I'm going to say this over and over like a broken record. Advocacy, advocacy, and advocacy, meaning please reach out to your congressional elected officials to try to put pressure and to increase the humanitarian operations on the ground. Right now, they're only having a couple of flights going out. Also, where the gate is and where the Taliban are saying that the borders are closed, we want our elected officials, they are working, but I think the more they hear from our elected officials, the more they hear from their constituents, the more our elected officials will listen. I live in the Bay Area in Northern California, which Fremont is known as Little Kabul. Tremendous amount of distress and pain and uncertainty lays ahead for many people with family members. We are hearing from confirmed sources that Taliban are going door to door, taking people. People are missing. That is something that's probably going to be more rampant as the U.S. pulls out. So one thing I would suggest, if there's a reputable organizations that you trust, donate for those refugees that eventually get here. They will need support. But number one thing right now I would say is reach out to your congressionally elected officials and ask for advocacy and say, take more actions on Afghanistan. As part of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, that is extremely important. What we're doing right now is advocacy with legislatures, senators, congressmen, even the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Department of Customs and Services to seek remedies, also to do humanitarian parole to get people out as quickly as we can, as time is of the essence.
Yes, absolutely. As you mentioned, time is of the essence. Well, we thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day as you are also in the midst of all this. Well, we appreciate your time. Spojmie Nasiri, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.